Donald Trump just signed the death warrant for Ukraine in its fight against Vladimir Putin and Russian aggression. And I'm going to show you that in just a few seconds. But we have to understand how incredibly important sharing information and intelligence between allies across the globe is. It is paramount to everything that we do. And Donald Trump is such an ignorant bully. It is unbelievable, the decision that he just made. But his step one is the first part of it. Step two is the breaking news I'm going to tell you about in a few seconds. But his step one was to cut off Ukraine first. Take a listen to this.
This morning, CIA Director John Ratcliffe said the U.S. is pausing intelligence sharing with Ukraine. The Trump administration had already announced a pause in military aid to Ukraine, even as shipments of weapons and equipment were actively en route. That forced planes to turn back. This all comes as President Trump struck a more conciliatory tone toward Ukraine in his speech last night, after Ukrainian President Zelensky signaled his willingness to sign a strategic minerals and rare earths deal and begin peace negotiations. NBC News senior national security correspondent Courtney Kube joins us now from the Pentagon. Courtney, good to see you. So explain to us the magnitude of this decision to stop sharing intelligence with Ukraine and what the broader implications could be.
Okay, so the U.S. decision to pause at this point, we don't know how long this is going to last, but to pause sharing intelligence and sending weapons and equipment to Ukraine. Yes, it has a practical impact, frankly, on the day-to-day fight there in Ukraine. But the bigger impact is really the message that this sends, not just to Ukraine, but to allies throughout Europe and particularly in Eastern Europe.
But you find, as Prime Minister, or at least I found, that, the truth is that our militaries work very closely together, our intelligence agencies work closely together. I think I'm right in saying still that the President, every morning when he has his briefing, there's always some stuff in there from GCHQ and from the MI6 and from the work that we do here. The relationship is very close, so you just have to find the right way.
The intelligence sharing is a little bit different, though, Clay, because while the United States may be pausing providing information directly to Ukraine, the U.S. is still sharing intelligence with close allies.
And I don't think people realize the intelligence sharing that we do.
Unbelievable. It's great.
Is truly, it's why it's so important to keep the West tight and close, is because when you can share intelligence, that's how you make sure everyone's safe.
Yes, I purposefully slipped in a little former Prime Minister Nikki Haley into that to talk about the value of sharing intelligence with our allies, especially the UK and MI6 and GCHQ. Are you kidding me? Well, in this breaking story, what did Donald Trump just do? Playing town bully like he's Mr. Tough Guy and we can do it all by ourselves and squeezing the life out of Ukraine? The breaking story is unbelievable. Take a listen.
Donald Trump has banned Britain from sharing intelligence from the United States with Ukraine, according to reports. The U.S. president is said to have made the move as part of the U.S. withdrawal of support for Volodymyr Zelensky, following a fiery row between the pair last week. There are now concerns that Ukraine could run out of weapons as soon as 2 to 3 months following Trump's decision to freeze American military aid to Ukraine. According to the Daily Mail, UK intelligence agencies and military outlets have been ordered not to share any US-generated intelligence with Ukraine. The ban reportedly affects the likes of the UK government's communications headquarters, GCHQ, spy agencies, and intelligence branches of the Ministry of Defense. Since the conflict began 3 years ago, the UK and other Western security partners, such as Australia and New Zealand, have shared intelligence with Ukraine in a bid to help the country defend itself against Russian forces. However, it is feared the ban from the US will further hamper Ukraine's chances to defend itself. UK military intelligence expert Phil Ingram told the Mail, "The United States' instruction to stop allies sharing U.S.-derived intelligence with Ukraine is what I would expect. The U.S.'s intelligence partners, including Britain, have had their authority to pass on intelligence revoked. The U.S. will tightly control distribution of its intelligence to Ukraine through agencies based in Kiev. Russia currently occupies around 1/5 of Ukraine, including eastern provinces and the Crimean Peninsula." Meanwhile, a senior Ukrainian official told the Financial Times earlier this week, "We have 2 to 3 months. After that, the position will be very difficult for us. It will not be a total collapse, but we will be forced to withdraw from some areas more quickly. The ban on the UK sharing US intelligence with Ukraine follows Trump's signaling that he plans to relinquish the US's leadership of NATO. Trump has previously insisted that the UK and France should take more responsibility for the security of Europe, in a move his friend and advisor, Elon Musk, has reportedly recommended.
Now, if you're one of the other 5 countries besides Britain, the UK, and the G7, what would you be thinking right now? If you looked at what Trump just did by saying, we're not going to tell you what we know about what's going on in Ukraine. If you think that Trump is not an ally to Vladimir Putin, this should literally be the last nail in the coffin, because it certainly is for Vladimir Zelensky and the Ukrainian people, without question. This is basically handing the Ukraine to Vladimir Putin. It is hard to fathom what I am witnessing by a U.S. president, not in trying to seek a certain goal, but in the way that he is going about, like he's done everything else, and no one seems to care. You just keep voting for the guy. What he has basically done in terms of, hey, Vladimir, here you go. Country's wide open to you now. No one can know anything, and we've cut off all their supplies. Charge on in. No one will know what your movements or what you're doing, because we're keeping the information from them. Folks, that isn't just irresponsible. It literally would be the definition of treason. It's literally against the definition of the Constitution as it applies to the President of the United States. Stay frosty.